Chalo. Good afternoon, students. Our Apti Plus তরফ থেকে WBCS এর যে অনলাইন ক্লাসেস অনলাইন ভিডিওস আপলোড করা হচ্ছে. This is the third class of Polity. Previously we have started প্রথম ক্লাস যেটা ছিল, that is the features of the fundamental rights that I have covered. Last day I have covered the preamble. Today we will start with another topic, that is the President of India. Okay, the President of India. The first thing we have studied in the preamble, that India is a republican country, which means that the head of the state or the constitutional head of the nation is the President of India, who is elected. Okay, it's not a hereditary post like the British Queen. In India, the president is elected. That means the highest constitutional post is open to all. Fine. So to start with the president, we need to know the very basic things, or the very you can say the most simplest thing. Fine. He is the, I mean to say he or she, okay, is the de jure head, okay, or the nominal head. Fine. President বা রাষ্ট্রপতি ইনি একজন নমিনাল হেড. President is called as the de jure head of India. Fine. So naturally the another question comes, if president is the de jure head, who is the de facto head? Fine. So de facto head, okay, de facto head is the PM. Fine. De jure head is the president or the highest constitutional post holder. Okay, he is the de jure head, whereas the prime minister, okay, he is the de facto head. The same thing is applicable for the states also. In state, the governor is the de jure head, whereas the chief minister is the de facto head. Fine. Prime minister and chief minister elected by the people. Fine. So the moment we have studied that the president is elected, okay, president is elected because the highest constitutional post is open to everybody who is having the qualification of becoming the president of India. So naturally the first thing which we need to remember is that his election. সবার আগে যে জিনিসটা মানে যেটা নরমালি তোমাদের কোয়েশ্চেন করে থাকে, which article says about that there shall be a president? Okay, it's article 52 which state that there shall be a president of India. Fine. Next, president is elected. President is elected. As I have just discussed, that republic means the highest constitutional post will be open to all. The highest constitutional post is an elected one, not a hereditary one. Fine. So president is elected. Fine. So president is elected by whom? By an electoral college. Okay, ये जो electoral college है, ये electoral college पे who are the members or who are the voters? Do we vote for the presidential election? No. President का जो election होता है, that is an indirect election. Fine. President is elected by an electoral college. So ये electoral college जो है, इसमें members कौन-कौन सा रहेगा? All elected MPs, all elected MLAs of the state legislative assemblies, all elected MLAs of state legislative assemblies of the UTs. Okay, Delhi, Puducherry and Ladakh. Presently, these are the three union territories which are having the legislative assembly. So all elected MPs, all elected MLAs of the respective states, as well as all the elected MLAs of the union territories having a legislative council, legislative assembly, are the voters in the presidential election. Fine. ये जो all elected MPs बोल रहा हूँ, all elected MLAs बोल रहा हूँ, that means no nominated. No nominated can vote. Presidential election এর মধ্যে কোনো nominated ক্যান্ডিডেটরা ভোট করেন না. আমরা দেখেছি আজকের দিনে দাঁড়িয়ে it is only the Rajya Sabha or the higher house, or you can say the council of the states, It is the only house where there is the option of nomination. There are 12 members which can be nominated to the Rajya Sabha by the President of India. Previously, it was there was the option with the Legislative Assembly, I mean to say Lok Sabha. Two members were nominated by the President from the Anglo-Indian community if they were not adequately represented. But we have seen by the 104th Amendment Act, it has been done away with. Presently, there is no nomination option for either for the legislative assemblies of the states or the legislative, I mean to say, or of the Lok Sabha. Fine. So, Rajya Sabhate 12 জন member nominated. সেই 12 জন মেম্বার কিন্তু প্রেসিডেন্টের ইলেকশনে ভোট দেন না, বিকজ দ্য অপশন ইজ বা qualification is, or you can say the criteria is all elected MPs. That means MPs both LS plus RS, because LS plus RS দুজনকেই আমরা মেম্বার অফ পার্লামেন্ট বলে থাকি। ফাইন। Then all elected MLAs of the state legislative assemblies. প্রতিটা রাজ্যেই একটা করে বিধানসভা আছে, লেজিসলেটিভ অ্যাসেম্বলি আছে। প্রতিটা রাজ্যেই যারা যারা ইলেক্টেড এমএলএস হবে, ওকে, তারাই কিন্তু প্রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ইলেকশনে ভোট দিতে পারবে। এবার এখানে একটা কোয়েশ্চেন, যে কোন রাজ্যে চিফ মিনিস্টার যদি লেজিসলেটিভ কাউন্সিলের মেম্বার হয়, বিকজ অ্যাজ উই নো দ্যাট দেয়ার আর 6 স্টেটস হুইচ আর হ্যাভিং লেজিসলেটিভ কাউন্সিলস, কোন এই 6টা রাজ্যের চিফ মিনিস্টার যদি লেজিসলেটিভ কাউন্সিল থেকে বিলং করে, ক্যান দ্যাট চিফ মিনিস্টার ভোট ইন দ্য প্রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ইলেকশন? নো, বিকজ হি অর শি ইজ নট আ মেম্বার অফ দ্য legislative assembly, and the criteria is all elected MLAs of the state legislative assemblies, okay, not legislative councils. Fine. Arekta jinis, there is a huge question, you can say the question naturally comes, which is often asked even in your interview also, je president being the constitutional head of the nation, why these MLAs are voting for the presidential election? Okay, MLAs the presidential election and vote দেওয়ার কি দরকার পড়ে? Okay, the reason is that president is the representative of the whole nation. তো ন্যাচারাল ব্যাপার, হোল নেশনের রিপ্রেজেন্টেটিভ যিনি হবেন, তার ভোটে লেজিসলেটিভ অ্যাসেম্বলিজ এর ইলেক্টেড মেম্বারদের রাখাটা মানেই it is the opinion, or the president is being elected by taking the opinion of the whole of the nation, not only about the parliament, though parliament is called a nation in miniature, but still directly kintu MLAs now they are very much involved in the presidential election. Okay, that means states are having a power, states are you can say states are taking part, or you can say states are controlling the presidential election. Fine. And this is you can say this is one of the federal feature of the Indian constitution, that the highest constitutional post is elected not only by the MPs but also by the legislative assemblies, or you can say by the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the concerned states. Okay, fine. And finally, the legislative assemblies of the union territories which are having, I mean to say any union territories having any legislative assemblies, they also vote for the presidential election. Fine. So elected MPs only and elected MLAs, they only vote for the presidential election. No nominated MPs or MLAs vote for the presidential election. But remember one thing, প্রেসিডেন্টের যখন ইমপিচমেন্ট হয়, ওকে, ইলেকট্রাল কলেজে যারা মেম্বার্স হন আর ইমপিচমেন্ট করার সময় দুটো মেম্বার্স কিন্তু এক নয়। ওকে, আন্ডার আর্টিকেল 61 প্রেসিডেন্ট ইজ ইমপিচড on the ground that is violation of the constitution, and the ground violation of the constitution has not been defined by the constitution itself. Anyway, when the president is impeached, he is impeached by all the MPs only. Okay, no MLAs vote. That means MLAs only vote for the presidential election, not for his or her impeachment. When president is impeached, the impeachment bill arises in either house of the parliament. Okay, and there are many nooks and corners, nuances, not dealing with right now. Anyway, প্রেসিডেন্টের ইলেকটোরাল কলেজে যারা ভোট করছেন তারা কিন্তু প্রেসিডেন্টের ইমপিচমেন্টে ভোট করেন না। ইলেকটোরাল কলেজে ইলেক্টেড এমপিস, ইলেক্টেড এমএলএস রা ভোট করছেন, whereas ইমপিচমেন্টে only elected, I mean to say all MPs are voting for the presidential impeachment. ঠিক এখানে একটা লিংক করে যদি পড়ো তোমরা, it will be good for you, because Those who vote for the presidential impeachment, they are the same voters who are the members of the electoral college who is electing the vice president. Okay, because vice president is also elected by all the MPs. Fine. That means presidential impeachment যারা যারা ভোট করছেন যে মেম্বারসরা তারাই কিন্তু ভাইস প্রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ইলেকশনও ভোট করছেন. Fine. This is, you can say, a link up by which you can remember the whole of the constitution or the things which are required for your exam exactly. Okay. Anyway, next. How president is elected, I'm not coming into it right now. It's a lengthy process. It will take time. What are the qualifications for becoming the president of India? First one, he must be a citizen of India. ये जो citizen है, citizen बनने के लिए there are 5 criteria by which a person can become, or you can say there are 5 ways by which a person can become a citizen of India: by birth, by registration, by acquiring new territory, by naturalization, and by descent. Fine. বাট এই 5টা ভাবেই কিন্তু সিটিজেন অফ ইন্ডিয়া হওয়া যায়, কিন্তু এই 5টা ভাবেই সিটিজেনশিপ পাওয়ার পরে কি যে কেউ প্রেসিডেন্সিয়াল ইলেকশনে দাঁড়াতে পারে? নো। এখানে যে সিটিজেন অফ ইন্ডিয়া দেওয়া আছে না, এখানে সিটিজেন মানে কিন্তু ইদার বাই বার্থ, ওকে, অর বাই ন্যাচারালাইজেশন। Okay, that means in India, a person who is aspiring or who is planning, or you can say who is thinking of becoming the president of India, he must be a citizen either by birth or by naturalization. That means any person who is a citizen of India by means of registration, okay, or any person who is a citizen of India by virtue of being that place acquired by the Indian territory, they are not applicable for the presidential election. Fine. Next, 35 years of age minimum. 35 years of age is required for becoming the president. It is the minimum age qualification. Fine. The most important thing, duly qualified to be a member of LS. Dekho, duly qualified. Okay, this is the question, or this is the, you can say, trick which PSC often uses. Statement conclusion দিয়ে question করলে এমনও দিয়ে দিতে পারে, he must be a member of the Lok Sabha. No, he must be duly qualified to become a member of Lok Sabha. That does not mean he must be a member of the Lok Sabha. Fine. Then there are other things also. There are 15,000 deposit रखना पड़ता है through for the in front of the RBI, with the RBI, और 1/6 अगर वोट नहीं मिलता है तो that is forfeited. 50 proposers चाहिए, 50 proposers, 50 seconders. ये जो 50 proposers है और ये जो 50 seconders है, they must be a voter in the electoral college. এমন নয় যে যাকে তাকে আমি প্রপোজার হিসাবে অ্যাপ্লাই করতে বললাম বা যে কোনো 50 জনকে সেকেন্ডার্স হিসাবে বললাম না। এই যে ইলেকট্রাল কলেজে যারা যারা ভোট দেবেন, ওকে, দ্যাট মিন্স ये जो 50 প্রপোজার্স है, they must be either an elected MP or an elected MLA. আর 50 সেকেন্ডার্স যারা হবে, they must also be either an elected MLA or an elected MP. Fine. 50 proposals and 50 seconders, that is required presidential election के लिए. Citizen of India, duly qualified, और ये duly qualified to become a member of the Lok Sabha. Okay. Now, proportional representation. It is a method of election by requirement. Proportional representation by means of single transferable vote and voting by secret ballot. Okay, তিনটে জিনিস মাথায় রাখবে: single transferable vote, proportional representation. What is proportional representation? We will come to it later on. What is single transferable vote? Again we will come on. And by secret ballot. Okay, simple জিনিস, single transferable vote মানে there is the option. Okay, there are two there are two types of voting. আমরা যে ভোট গুলো দিয়ে থাকি, we follow the concept of FPTP. Okay, first past the post system. But presidential requirement হয়, that is absolute majority. Absolute majority means 50% plus 1. This is the requirement. Any person who is becoming the president of India, he must acquire or he must get 50% plus 1 vote to be elected as the president of India. That's why it has been called as a absolute majority wala vote, not FPTP. Okay, FPTP te amra vote gulo diye thaki. This is nothing. ধরো তোমাদের কোন একটা কনস্টিটিউশনে there are 3 candidates A, B, C. Take for example, there are 10 voters. Okay, there are 10 voters. Okay, ধরো A পেলো, take for example 4 votes, B পেলো 2, C পেলো 1. Okay, so out of this A, B and C, 4 will be declared as the, I mean to say A will be declared as the winner because A has got the maximum number of votes as compared to the rest of the candidates. But look one thing, ye jo 4 vote pe elected হচ্ছেন, that means কি there are 6 persons in the constituency because there were 10 voters, তার মধ্যে 6 জন কিন্তু ক্যান্ডিডেট A কে প্রেফার করছেন না, তার মানে তারা ভোট দেননি। ওকে, এই যে ধরো 4 2 7 1 8, তার মানে দুজন হয়তো নন ভোটার্স, ভোট দিতেই যায়নি। ওকে, that means whatever 6 persons are not preferring candidate A, but still A is becoming the elected candidate because he has first passed the post. Okay, among rest of the 2 candidates, candidate A has got more number of votes. But this process is not followed for the presidential election. Presidential election jeta lage, that is 50% plus 1. There are preferences which one has to give. Okay, the voters will go for the preferences. যতজন candidate থাকবেন, candidate A, B, C ধরো রইলেন, তো preference will be like 1 2 3 1 2 3 करके होगा, counting होगा, तब तक counting चलता रहेगा जब तक 50% plus 1 नहीं हो रहा है. So once 50% plus 1, that person will be declared as the president of India. Okay, the highest constitutional post. Okay, can president, what is the term of the office? Normally the term of the office is 5 years. Okay, but once the president tenure is completed, that means after 5 years the president tenure is completed and the new president has not been elected, the previous president will continue in his office. The post of the president can never be remain vacant. Okay, vacant, there are 2 types of vacancy. One is by death, resignation and all these things, and one is the president, new president has not, take for example 2022 to 27. Okay, this is the normal tenure, 5 years tenure. When president is elected, he is elected for a term of 5 years. Ever 27 election, before the expiration period of the previous president, new president must be elected. But jodi kono karone na hoy, the previous president will continue in his office till the new president is elected. Okay, these are the many nuances. Presidential election, presidential, you can say the tenure of the office of the president. Fine. Next, coming to the, there are powers. Okay, I'm just discussing all these things in a nutshell. There are many nuances, there are many nooks and corners, there are many technicalities which we will have to cover in our respective classes, and we will do it. Okay, so there are presidential powers, there are legislative powers, there are, you can say, there are veto powers of the president. Okay, so normally the first thing which you must keep in mind, any bill to become an act requires the consent of the president, then only it can become an act. Fine. So president ke paas agar koi bill aata hai under article 111, president has what, how many powers? President has 3 powers. Okay, either to sign or to reject, that means withholding, that means reject. Okay, or returning it back for reconsideration. Okay, when the president is sending a bill for reconsideration, he is using his suspensive veto. When president is signing, that means he is giving permission to the bill. Okay, and when he is rejecting, that means he is using his absolute veto. খেয়াল করে রাখবে, president cannot return, এই যে third option টা, returning of the bill, okay, passed by the parliament, this is not applicable for money bills. Not applicable for money bills, because money bills can never be sent back for reconsideration. That means president can never use suspensive veto with respect to the money bills. Doesn't matter whether that money bill is from the parliament or from the any respective state legislature or not, because state legislature jodi kono money bill ashe, that will be given to the governor for his permission. Governor can reserve the money bill of a state for the consideration of the president. Okay. If that money bill passed by a single state legislature is reserved by the governor for the consideration of the president, president only has two powers. Either he will sign the bill or he will reject the bill. Even president cannot send the money bill of the state legislature for reconsideration. That means money bill holds a special value. Okay, so once money bill is passed, either it must be signed or it must be rejected. It cannot be sent back for reconsideration. Fine. There are reasons why it cannot be sent back. We'll come to it in the respective classes. So in general, apparently president seems to be the nominal head, or you can say the rubber stamp, but there are many powers. He is the supreme commander of the armed forces. Okay. He can conclude peace or declare any war, though president will do it only with the recommendation of the cabinet. Okay, because as I said, he is only the rubber stamp. He is just a nominal head. Okay, fine. But whatever is done, whatever executive action is taken, it is taken in the name of the president. He has diplomatic powers. Under Article 72, he has the pardoning power. Okay, he can grant even the death pardon also. Okay, death pardon can only be grant the grand pardon jeta ke bole tha ki death pardon. Okay, pardoning of death sentence can only be done by the president, not by the governor. We'll come to it in the respective classes. But in general, shudhu etuku mathay rakhbe, president, there are many things which we need to study in the president. President is, though he is the de jure head, or you can say though he is the nominal head, but at times he acquires many powers, even during emergency time, or you can say during the declaration of the state emergency. Okay, even under Article 123, he has the ordinance power also. That means during any time the parliament is in recess, okay, or the house is dissolved, at that point of time, if any emergency law is required, who is empowered to do, or who is empowered to issue that law? That law is naturally called as constitutionally called as the ordinance, and that ordinance will be issued by the president. This ordinance has the same power with respect to the laws made by the parliament. Okay, so we'll come to it later on. Overall, the position of the president, though it seems very nominal, but at times president acquired much deeper position. Now a question arises, why the presidential election has been made indirect? Okay, the reason is that there will be a clash of power. Prime Minister is elected by the people. If President is also elected by the people, there will be a clash of power. Fine. Next, how President can be impeached? He can be impeached. You can say what is the ground for impeachment? That is a violation of the Constitution. And what is this violation of the Constitution? Not yet defined. Okay, not yet. Not defined by the Constitution itself. But normally it is taken that president must act in the aid and advice of the prime minister along with the council of ministers. So once the president is not acting by the aid and advice of the minister, it will be taken that president is violating the constitution. So that can be made a ground for his or her impeachment. Okay. So anyway, we will come to the later classes. We will come in depth with the later classes. So today it's the president that we have covered. Okay, fine. Chalo. That said, if you are liking the classes, definitely there is an option for like button. There is an option for sharing button. If you want to do the classes, if you want to enroll yourself, come to Apti Plus. The number is given over there. Here, each and every faculty will give his or her utmost experience and knowledge in making or in building your futures. Okay, so do come and join and definitely feel the difference. The most important thing, feel the difference. Okay. The quality of the coaching, the quality of the institute, you can say the effort of the institute for building your career is definitely a remarkable one. Okay, so if you're liking the classes, if you're following the classes, go for the like button. If you want any queries, if you want to know anything about the center or about the institute, you have the phone number, you can contact over there. Okay, and do study well. Okay, prelims is nearing by. All the best to all of you. Thank you.